April Fabb lived with her family in the village of McCann, Norfolk. She was a quiet, friendly and family-oriented child. She was successful at school, paid great attention to her lessons, and particularly loved literature. She often spent her free time in the garden of their home and sometimes rode her bicycle around the village. She was well liked by her peers, cheerful and kind-hearted. One of her favorite things was having long conversations with her family during dinner. Her family led a simple and modest life. Her father worked as a farmer while her mother took care of the house. April had an older sister with whom she shared a close bond. Spending time at her sister's house, especially on weekends, was one of her greatest joys. That is why, on April 8th, she set out with a cigarette box she had bought as a gift for her sister's husband. The weather was sunny and everything in the village seemed normal. The villagers were working in their fields and children were playing in the streets. April was seen by several people as she passed through the village's main road. An elderly shepherd stated that he saw her riding her bicycle happily. Another witness noted seeing her at the entrance to a path. However, after 1:50 p.m., there was no further news of April. Around 2 p.m., April's bicycle was found next to a field. The bike appeared to be carefully placed on the ground. There were no signs of damage or a fall. This suggested that she hadn't been hurriedly abducted. On the contrary, it seemed to have been placed there deliberately. However, there was no trace of April herself. The spot where the bike was found was near the edge of the village but in a rather secluded area. There were farmers working and villagers tending to livestock, but no one had noticed April's disappearance. One of the first people to arrive at the scene noted that the bike had been placed very neatly. There were no signs of a struggle or fight. It was as if April had left her bike and walked away of her own accord. But her family and friends knew that she was not the type to do such a thing. The police immediately launched a large-scale search. Helicopters, trained dogs and volunteers combed the village and its surroundings step by step. Villagers also joined the search. However, every effort was in vain. No trace of April was found in the fields or forests. The police first spoke with the villagers. They asked if anyone had noticed a suspicious person in the area that day. However, the villagers stated that they hadn't noticed anything unusual. The area where April disappeared was quiet, and not many people passed through there, leading some to believe that it could have been a planned abduction. Several farmers working in the field that afternoon reported seeing a black car near the area where the incident occurred. The car had stopped for a brief moment and then sped away. However, no license plate number or information about the driver could be obtained. The police investigated foreigners in the area and those who knew April. But no solid evidence was found against anyone. April had no known enemies, and there seemed to be no reason for her to be abducted. Despite all the investigations, no concrete answer was found regarding where April went, how she disappeared, or who took her. April's disappearance was a huge tragedy for her family. They tried everything to find her. Her mother never lost hope that her daughter would return. Every day she looked out the window waiting for her to come back. Her father stayed awake for days, searching the entire village for his daughter. When the story was picked up by the media, the people of Norfolk showed great solidarity. Newspapers, television and radio stations featured April Fabb's disappearance on their front pages. The whole country wanted her found. The police evaluated every tip they received, but each time hopes were dashed. This missing person case quickly became one of the biggest mysteries in England. The peaceful village life of Norfolk was suddenly filled with fear and uncertainty. Children no longer went outside alone. Families lived with the constant fear of never knowing what happened to a missing child. Today, what happened to April Fabb remains unknown. Who abducted her? Where did they take her? How did she disappear without a trace? These questions remain unanswered despite the years that have passed. Perhaps one day, with a new clue, a new witness, or with the help of technology, this mystery could be solved. But for now, April Fabb's disappearance remains one of the greatest unsolved cases in history.